I'd like to welcome our special guest, returning champion, Judith Collins, who is
Thank
a
you.
world-renowned aura reader. She's written many books. She's amazing. I've interviewed you now, I think this might be the 13th interview. We've had a lot of conversations, and I thought this is one that I haven't asked as yet. Well, what is the actual purpose for the human aura?
That's a question that nobody has ever asked me. Everybody wants to know what it is and how it works, but nobody has thought to ask me, what is the purpose of it? The purpose of the human aura is a vehicle in which we as the human, our mind and the soul can travel. Think about a car. Think about a library. In a car, we journey from place to place. We have protection from the rain, the storm, the burning sun, the wind, leaves flying through, dust. We have protection from all of that. So that's one stage of the aura. It's a vehicle. The next stage of the human aura is a library. It's a wealth of information. And you, as a therapist, have had lots of experience in the aura, although you don't see it. But when you're doing your therapy, through that person, it can access information that they have forgotten about or lost in time. So the aura is a living library. It's a vehicle because it's connected to our petrol pump. And our petrol pump is universal energy. So we travel within the aura in order to feel safe, to give us a sense of connection to all and everything, and to make us bond quite easily with our own species, and to help us to domesticate for our own healing, such as cats and dogs and birds and rabbits and kangaroos, if you like. On my property, they all come up to say hello to me. So that gives you an idea of what that is the purpose of the human aura. It's to allow us to journey through this life. It's allow us to bond and fall in love. It encourages to love our children. It allows us to marvel at the patterns in the clouds, at the sparkles in the stars, in the beauty of a flower, the perfume, the taste of food. It allows us to do all those things. But it's a library, a living library, because it records every minute, every second of the day. It records everything. And as we journey through time, we may live to, like my mother is 98 years old. So her human memory is very long. It takes in growing up in the Great Depression, the Spanish flu that crippled the world, World War II, and then coming into the changes of the 50s and the 60s and COVID and all the things that she's been through. She's collected more things at the age of 98 than the average person has, right? Except for all those people out there who are over the age of 85. They've collected these things as well. So we have a wealth of knowledge within us. But within that allows us to stay in communication to where we belong as a soul. And we belong to a divine energy, which is both spiritual, holy, blessed, all loving, unconditional love. And that's where we belong. And our aura stays connected to that at all times. So even when we have family, like my father died, I think about 12 months ago. My husband died 19 months ago. So my aura allows me at all times to stay connected to them, even though they're not on the planet with me. Yes.
Wonderful. And that's interesting. So the aura connects us to our deceased loved ones.
Yes.
So let's explore that. That's something we haven't spoken about before. How does that all work?
Well, it works because we communicate. The aura is a walking, talking, living library that houses all our thoughts, our feelings, our experiences, our dislikes, our likes, our talents, everything. And that stays within you. And when you die, it's the astral layer of the aura in which that is kept. And when you die, when our loved ones die, that goes with them. I'm a great believer that the mind sits in the astral aura. And I've told you that before, because when I have watched people dying, I see that all that information goes. And then I watch them come through being channeled by a medium. And then the information comes through, and it can only come through from the mind. So the mind, as we know, is connected somewhere, and I believe it's in the astral aura, because when we die, it goes with us. That allows us a wonderful thing to happen. When the mind goes with the astral aura, and the astral aura recording absolutely everything in our life, then that mind knows exactly the love that is left behind on the planet. And that mind can then facilitate a sharing of information, a knowingness, an understanding, a trust, a love, a belonging that will possibly go for eternity. So what happens? When someone passes over, and this is something I've watched with my own eyes, and I thank the people who have allowed me to watch their death. And I really do thank them. I thank them. What happens is when you die, a deceased relative arrives just as the solar plexus opens up and the astral aura starts to release with the mind. And within seconds, for everybody, I've watched lots of deaths happening, and within seconds, a deceased relative comes in. And I've always questioned, I thought in the beginning when I first saw it, I thought, oh, they come in just to comfort and to guide and make you feel as though you belong. No, they don't. I've since learned, after seeing many deaths, I've since learned that when we die, we don't know how to communicate because we lose our voice.
We lose our body.
We lose all of that connection.
People.
We can't speak anymore. So we have to relearn how to communicate.
Yes.
And so when our loved ones communicate with us, they can't say, hello, Natalie, how are you, darling? I was watching this the other day. I think when you go shopping in future, you should make sure you secure your handbag. They can't talk like that.
No.
They can't talk like that. All they can do is to look at the feeling. So anybody who passes over, if they don't contact you immediately, it's because they're learning to talk. They're learning to talk in the spiritual way. That's why the aura is there, because the aura allows the spirit to tap into your astral aura, to which they are connected to you because you are part of their family. They can connect that, which means they can do a number of things. And it's very exciting because you don't have to be psychic, you don't have to be spiritual, you don't have to be anything. All you have to do is one thing. You have to love them. And if you love them, that love will overpower everything. Now, let's see what the aura can do. Say, for instance, you're a person that remembers your dreams. Well, the aura and your deceased loved one will see that. And dreams are a language. They're not a voice, right? They're not expression. They don't shake hands. They don't do anything like that, but they are a language. So they can connect through your dreams, and you can dream parts of memories, and you can dream things to come, and you can see visions in your dreams if a person sees visions in your dreams. So you need to have a dream journal. You need to keep a dream journal, right? So that you can write down, because spirits can only give you little bits and pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. They can't speak a language. And so therefore you need to be jotting it down so that at the end of the week, after all your dreams, you can go, oh, wow, that's what this means. Another form of communication is through thought. You could be driving along, you could be washing the dishes, hanging the washing on the line, cleaning a floor, washing the car, vacuuming the car, anything that has an activity that organizes your brain to be elsewhere, then spirit can come through a level of thought which is higher up, and that comes through the astral layer of the aura. So you might get an idea. Say, for instance, you're trying to figure out how you're going to manage your money. You've got this bill, that bill, and you're not quite sure where it is. And all of a sudden, in the middle of washing the car, you get this thought and you go, oh, that's the right one. That's the spirit coming through, giving you that thought or giving you that inspiration. So they can come through at any time. Lots of women having their first, second, third, whatever babies they're having, right? Often get thoughts, hear the thoughts just as they're beginning to hold the baby in the arm. If their mother has died, if their grandmother has died, they're able to, at that particular time, to get the thought and the feeling to come through to the new mother as she's holding her baby for the very first time. Beautiful. So there's ways that spirit can get in, but don't expect them to say, hello, good morning, how are you? Because they don't talk that way. The next thing they can come through is voice, and they can trigger music. So you could be somewhere and a song is finishing on the radio and then another song comes on and it's your song, or it's a song that your mother used to sing all the time, or your father used to whistle. They can come through sound, they can come through music. So they can give inspiration in that as well. The big thing, if you're ever blessed to have this, you will see them in a vision. And when you have to be engaged in an activity to be able to do this, you just can't sit down and visualize them. Most of the time this occurs is when someone is terminally ill and they know that their days are numbered, and then they will get a vision of possibly their deceased spouse, partner, or child. That will come through then. Sometimes, and there's documented evidence of this, sometimes people get the vision at home before the person before they've been informed, before the person died, right? So it can be before they died or before they've been told they die. Yes. Yeah. One woman documented, famous, 3 boys in the car together. She's washing the dishes, wiping up the dishes, cleaning down the sink, doing all of that. One boy comes through, says, goodbye, Mum. And she thinks, what's that about? And then it wasn't until the last son came through that she realised something had happened. And then 10 minutes later, there was a knock on the door and it was a policeman to say that they'd been killed in a car accident. So she lost 3 children all in one.
Goodness.
Yeah. Me. So each boy was coming through to try and sort of settle her and make her, oh, what's going on? So she didn't get the shock.
Yeah.
Of the trauma at the door.
Yes.
Broke that. And you know, as a hypnotherapist, right, you know that it's that shock that goes into our bodies, that they prepared her for that shock. So that gives you an idea. And they come through that astral layer of the aura, which has the memory, which has the mind, which has the space of memory, which allows us to tap into how that person alive, that live person, likes to be communicated to, likes to be talked to, likes to get their information. How much information do they like? The personality of the person. So they can communicate in that time into the personality and the emotional personality of that person. Yes.
Mm.
The other way that they can connect is to through words. You could be out somewhere just doing something mundane. They always come in when you're doing something mundane. And because the brain is busy organizing the body, the mind is free to be able to communicate. And so you might get words. Sometimes when you're waking up in the morning, you'll hear somebody and you won't even know who it is. And somebody says, turn the oven off. Don't forget to turn the oven off. Could be something like that.
Mm.
And you go, oh yes, I must do that. I'm going to do that this morning and I must remember. I'll write myself a note. You don't know, but they've got all these different methods of communicating. One of the easiest ones for people who don't think that they've got an ability to be able to communicate with their deceased relatives, think again. Because if you're involved in any kind of activity, spirit can come through. Lots of different champion athletes have got to the finish line knowing that they have won, and a voice has come through loud and clear saying, well done, darling. And that could be from a grandmother or a deceased mother or father. But there's lots of documented cases of that. So the human aura allows us through many ways to communicate. If somebody's sitting at home now and they're mourning a loved one, all they have to do is to sit on the side of the bed tonight and say, can I see you in my dreams? Can I see you in my dreams? Can I see you in my dreams? And then just do that for 2 or 3 nights and then wait to see what you see in your dreams. We are learning to communicate with them, but we only have this language to communicate with. They don't have that language anymore. That's very important to understand. Very important to understand. So they are relearning how to connect with their loved ones that they're no longer involved in a human way.
Yeah.
So they're learning.
Judith, a lot of cultures have when a loved one passes, and I know it's part of my culture, a photograph in the house with a candle or a light or a flower next to it, in memory of them. And
Yes.
What do you think about that?
Anything that can trigger the mind, right, not the brain, anything that can trigger the mind to remember, the moment we remember positively, that is, positively remember, right? Not angrily remember.
No.
But if you think of when you remember something in a positive way, how you feel. The first thing you feel is relaxed. Second thing is elated. Third thing is knowing, and the feelings that come over you. And of course, that remembering channels through to every cell in your body as well. And
so it's a lovely
remembering,
thing. Yeah.
yes, anything that you can do to remember.
Yeah.
I have photographs of my deceased husband all over the house. We used to have 2 or 3 photos, and now I've got them everywhere. So I cannot walk into any room where I don't see him.
That's wonderful.
Which means, yes, but there's a reason for that, because I know what I know.
Yes.
I have him in the house so that he belongs, right?
Yes.
What happens if you go out and you connect, you clean everything out, and there's nothing there that belongs anymore? And you might have photos in an album, but nobody ever sees them. So where did they live? Where did they sleep? What did they do? How did they belong? If they were in your life for 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, 50 years, whatever, So what is to show? What is to show for them? What is the value of their life? So what I did is I cleared off some bookcases, shelves, and I got some photographs of Paul and I, my husband and I, right from the first photos taken on our first date at 17, and we go right through, right up until the last photo of him in palliative care in hospital, right? And that showed the journey of our life together. So wherever I go, I've got photographs that trigger memories,
Yeah.
you
Beautiful.
know, on a ferry in Sydney. And when, because we were married young, his 21st birthday, my 21st birthday, because my mother said to us, she said, you might be a married woman, but you're having your 21st birthday.
Nice. I love this
Yes,
because I'm asking that I asked that question. I have another one to ask in a moment because I do see clients going through grief and yeah, I
yes,
have a few clients I'm seeing at the moment. So I'm asking questions that when this gets shared, this interview, they would get something out of it. So another question is, what if the just say, so I'm not talking about any specific client here, but just say when the person passes
yep,
that they didn't have a good relationship with them because that happens often like parents and children sometimes they don't speak anymore, they don't get along,
yep,
and you were speaking about the aura of the living and the aura of the past and sort of blending because of that connection through
yes,
family,
yes,
and the love was the bond that brought that together. What if they did
yes.
feel, what if the human that's still alive here doesn't feel that love? And really, even in passing, the person who passed didn't even include them in the will.
Yeah, well, now this is very interesting
Yeah.
because the understanding of the aura takes us right out of the human experience. Those people are in our life and they are teachers and students. They're challenging us to grow, to look at things that we wouldn't normally have to look at. Maybe to deal with fears, to become more self-reliant, to become forgiving, to become understanding, whatever it is that we are supposed to learn out of that experience. Those souls are connected to us, so the love's still there, whether or not we like them or not, but the soul is still there.
Yeah.
And unless, of course, we're looking at somebody who's murdered their entire family, right? That's a different kettle of fish. But relationships that break up and somebody dies and they don't leave them anything in the will, that's a reflection. That's something that the people left behind have to deal with. That's part of their soul's learning. People have got to get this in their head.
Yeah.
You can't blame any the spirit, like the mind has to have reasons for everything, to explain everything. Spirit needs nothing. People say, oh, I've done this, so it must be in a past life. That's because I've experienced this. And the soul is sitting there going, no, it's not. That's just you wanting to find a reason for it. And that's what happens. We try to find reasons to understand and to justify.
Mm.
Yes, to explain or to justify how we are feeling or responding to life, right?
Yeah.
And so when we are encountering souls, whether they be animals, cats, birds, whatever, all the souls that commune with us during our lifetime, um, they're communing in love. And it may not be the love that we understand on a human level, but it's love, universal love, that has no boundaries. It has no restrictions, and it has no laws of governance on it, like saying, well, I can't possibly love you because you've had 6 affairs and we've only been married for 3 years.
Yeah.
That's not it. That's not it. So what people have to do, your clients that may be watching this, what people need to do is they need to find somewhere to celebrate. This is how you heal. This is how you heal. You need to find somewhere to celebrate. I have photographs of Paul everywhere, and my father-in-law, who I loved, loved, loved passionately. I love that man. He was my best friend. I've
Yeah.
got him everywhere. Um, because they lift my spirits when I see them. It goes into my memory. So if I live for the next 30 years without them, I haven't lost any of those memories. All of that is a healing process, very much a healing process. So the key is from a soul level and from a mind, not a brain, not a feeling, not the emotions, but the mind. You have to celebrate the loss, the life, not mourn the loss. Mourning the loss is selfish. It is in the aura. When you see mourning, you see somebody who is self-centered, somebody who is selfish, somebody who thought that person was here just for them, which is very selfish. Yes. And so I don't want people to take offense of this, because we all feel lost. And I've been through a lot. I mean, Paul and I had 54 years together, and and since we were 17, and that's nearly all of my lifetime, right?
Absolutely.
So I found you've got to find common denominators. And this is what a soul does. A soul doesn't look for any justifications. It looks for common denominators. The common denominators are, we came together. We fell in love. We had a family. We loved other people. We helped people. We did these things on our journey. We've got lots of memories overseas and lots of memories here at home, building and farming and all those things. Celebrate that life. And that life, that means that person's life, an essence, this is a soul, essence, right? Doesn't ever leave the universe.
Okay. We have about 8 minutes left now.
Yes, I know.
Amazing, amazing information. And look, feeling, it seems to me, is the compass.
Yes.
The soul is all-knowing.
Yes.
No judgment there.
Yep.
Once we understand that,
yes,
it actually does bring us peace, because
yes,
we accept, we have more compassion for ourselves and others, more
yes,
understanding for ourselves, more peace, more, that's all love. So when
yes,
we can allow people to bloom like a flower, which
yes, yes,
represents the analogy of their life's journey,
yes,
this is what I'm understanding and trying to summarize, that that's all we need to do, and just have patience and compassion and understanding for others, because
yes,
it is the life
yes,
journey for them, and everyone's life journey is different, and we're all at different levels. And
yes,
so remembering that person through the deceased, through pictures, and it's a beautiful thing, because the question that I had raised very recently was, is this putting an obstruction in my grieving? Seeing a picture of my loved one every day, should I take it down? And I might
no,
no. And so I love we've had the time to unpack that, which is
Can
great.
I give you a wonderful example?
Please do.
One lady came to me, and she and her husband had been married for 56 years, right? And she said to me, she was a stay-at-home mum, and so he was the breadwinner, and she'd never dealt with the banking. Her life was opening up, right? It was opening up in a way that she was frightened. I said to her, she said, I don't know how to cope. And I said, I do. I said, do you have a hook on the back of your bedroom door? And she said, yes. And I said, do you hang things up there? She said, dressing gowns. I said, take the dressing gown down. I said, now, do you have a coat or a jacket that you loved when he put it on? You loved him in it? A sports coat, a suit coat, an overcoat, a parka, whatever. And I said, put it on the door, hang it up and put it on the door. And she said, what do I do? I said, when you get frightened, when you feel alone, I said, his smell is in that clothes. Your aura can attach yourself to the smell, And I said, put your arms in the sleeves and cuddle into that jacket, and know that Peter is there cuddling you back.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful, and it's so true.
Yes.
I actually,
Another thing I did
yeah,
when somebody was dying,
yes,
I got all the family who was very, very, mournful, very emotional. I got them around the bed. I got them to lift the clothes up, the bedclothes up. I got them to put their hands on the father, grandfather, whoever, what of his body, and touch the flesh in some way. And then I said to them, right, now while you're kneeling there and sitting there, I said, I want you to, in your mind, think of your favourite memories, things that you did, holidays, Christmases, Father's Day, all those things. And he died while they were doing that, right? They had their eyes closed and they were all memory. I looked around the room and everybody had smiles on their face. Now, I met that family 2 years later in a shopping centre, and they came over and said, we've got to thank you because we realised that we never went through what any of the other families went through. We actually, when my father died, we all came downstairs and had afternoon tea and we were all talking. None of us were crying. We were just happy to have been part of his life. I said, yes, celebrate life.
What a beautiful way to wrap up this interview. It is always such a pleasure and honor to speak with you. Judith, you always blow me away. I love it. Thank you again for your time. And
That's all right.
we'll have to do another one. Before we sign off, what is that, couple of minutes? I would love next interview to be, and this is a prelude for people who are watching, about people who go through divorce, separation and divorce. I see
Yes, we can do
a
that.
lot of people going through that, and I support
Yes,
through
yes,
that
yes,
and the
yes,
aftermath of that. And I think that would be
yes,
really good if you're happy to do that.
yes, 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 yes,
All right.
yes.
Beautiful.
Well, I've got my son. He's the only one in the family, but I've got my son going through it at the moment, so that'll be good. But they're going through it with smiles in their face because I'm in their life. And
Mm,
they're going through, she's got smiles on her face, he's got smiles on his face, and the children are happy.
aren't they lucky?
Yes,
Aren't they lucky
because
to have you in their life to
she's
guide?
because the wife is staying in the home with the children,
Yeah.
but my son has got a house 2 streets away. So he takes the children to school. He picks the children up from school. So they see him 5 days a week. And every weekend, every second weekend, he gets the children. So they're only 2 streets away. If they want dad, they can walk around the corner and go to dad.
What a perfect setup. That's
I
really, yeah,
know.
really perfect. That's huge. Huge. All right. Thank you again for your time, and always a pleasure. And we'll chat again soon.
Oh, my pleasure too.
Thank you, Judith. Okay, bye for now.
Bye-bye.